Have you ever wondered what makes an ordinary day transform into a moment that changes lives forever? In the quiet suburbs of Portland, Oregon, such a day would test the limits of courage and reveal the extraordinary bond between a dog and a family that nobody could have predicted. This is the story of Lexer, a 3-year-old German Shepherd who would prove that heroes come in all forms, even those with 4 paws and a wagging tail. Through his incredible actions, Lexer would show the world that sometimes the most powerful guardian angels don't have wings. They have fur. The events that unfolded that spring morning would forever change how an entire community viewed the deep connection between humans and their faithful companions. Sarah and Michael Thompson had always been careful parents, especially with their 18-month-old daughter Lanny. Their home was child-proofed, gates were installed at every staircase, and they had multiple baby monitors throughout the house. They thought they had considered every possible danger, but fate had other plans. Lexer had joined their family just 6 months before Lanny's birth, and while some friends questioned having a large dog around a baby, the Thompsons knew their gentle giant would be the perfect companion for their growing family. The bond that would develop between Lexer and Lanny would prove to be more precious than anyone could have imagined. The bond between Lexer and Lanny was evident from the moment they brought her home from the hospital. The German Shepherd would lie beside her crib for hours, his ears perking up at the slightest whimper. He would gently nuzzle her tiny hands when she reached for him, and his tail would wag with pure joy whenever she giggled at his presence. The family's neighbors often commented on how protective Lexer was, always positioning himself between Lanny and any unfamiliar faces. His dedication to the little girl seemed to grow stronger with each passing day, as if he understood the precious treasure he was helping to guard. That spring morning started like any other in the Thompson household. Sarah was preparing breakfast, while Michael had already left for his early hospital shift as an emergency room doctor. Lanny was playing in her specially designed playroom, surrounded by soft toys and educational games. Lexer, as always, was keeping his watchful eye on the toddler from his favorite spot near the doorway, where he could see both Lanny and Sarah in the kitchen. The air was filled with the usual morning sounds, Lanny's giggles, the clinking of dishes, and Lexer's content sighs as he watched over his family. Little did anyone know that a faulty electrical socket behind Lanny's favorite play cabinet had been slowly deteriorating over months. The previous homeowner's DIY renovation project was about to reveal its deadly consequences. The warning signs were there, occasional flickering lights and a slight burning smell that was dismissed as coming from the neighbor's barbecue. But Lexer had been increasingly agitated around that corner of the room, often whining and pawing at the wall. His instincts were trying to alert his family to the danger lurking behind the walls, but humans couldn't understand his warnings. As Sarah finished preparing Lanny's favorite breakfast of banana pancakes, she heard Lexer's unusual bark, something different from his normal playful woofs or alert signals. There was an urgency she had never heard before, a desperate plea that made her heart skip a beat. The mother's instincts, combined with Lexer's warning, created a moment of heightened awareness that would prove crucial in the next few seconds. His eyes were fixed on that corner of the room, and his body was tense in a way Sarah had never seen before. The intensity of his warning bark sent chills down her spine, making her abandon the breakfast preparations immediately. The security cameras would later show exactly how events unfolded that morning. Lexer's heightened senses had detected the danger before any human could. The sparking behind the wall, the increasing temperature, and the imminent threat to Lanny. The toddler, oblivious to the danger, was reaching for her favorite stuffed unicorn that had fallen behind the cabinet, exactly where the faulty wiring was about to spark. The morning light streaming through the windows would capture every detail of what was about to become a moment of extraordinary heroism. Every second was crucial, as the situation rapidly escalated from normal to life-threatening. Time seemed to slow down as Lexer sprang into action. His powerful legs launched him across the room with a speed and precision that seemed almost supernatural. The security footage captured every millisecond, the initial spark, the small flame beginning to catch the edge of the cabinet, and Lexer's determined rush to protect his tiny human friend. His eyes were focused, his movements calculated, despite the chaos about to unfold. In those crucial moments, Lexer's training and instincts merged with his deep love for Lanny, creating a perfect storm of heroic action. The neighbors would later describe hearing Sarah's terrified scream, but what happened next would become a story retold countless times in Portland's local news. Lexer not only managed to pull Lanny away from the cabinet just as the electrical fire erupted, but he also used his body as a shield, protecting her from the sudden burst of flames and smoke. His fur was singed, but his grip on Lanny's clothing was gentle yet firm, dragging her toward the doorway and safety. The whole neighborhood would soon learn of the incredible act of bravery that had taken place in the quiet suburban home they passed by every day. Sarah had reached the playroom door just as Lexer was pulling Lanny to safety. The sight of her daughter in potential danger made her blood run cold, but Lexer's quick thinking had already averted the crisis. The fire department would later confirm that had Lanny been near the cabinet when it ignited, the outcome could have been tragically different. Those precious seconds Lexer bought by acting immediately made all the difference. The morning that had started so normally had transformed into a testament to the extraordinary bond between a dog and his family. The story of Lexer's heroism spread quickly through the community, touching hearts and reminding everyone of the incredible bond between dogs and their human families. Local news stations gathered outside the Thompson home, all wanting to tell the story of the brave German Shepherd who had saved a toddler from certain harm. Lexer, however, seemed unchanged by his newfound fame, remaining focused only on his favorite little human's safety and happiness. His humble demeanor in the face of such acclaim only made his story more powerful, showing that true heroes don't seek recognition for their actions. Veterinarians who treated Lexer's minor burns were amazed by his calm demeanor, noting that despite his own injuries, he remained more concerned about keeping Lanny in his sight. The 3-year-old shepherd had demonstrated not just incredible instincts, but a level of devotion that touched everyone who heard the story. His actions proved that sometimes angels come with fur and 4 legs, ready to protect those they love without hesitation. The medical team would later share how Lexer's only signs of distress came when Lanny was briefly taken out of his view for his examination. The Thompson family's world had nearly shattered that morning, but instead, they found themselves blessed with an even stronger bond with their furry guardian. As Sarah watched Lexer and Laney playing in the backyard just days after the incident, she realized that their dog was more than just a pet. He was a guardian angel who had proven that love knows no bounds, and that true heroism often comes in the most unexpected packages. The sight of Lexer gently watching over Lanny as she played brought tears to Sarah's eyes, knowing how close they had come to tragedy and how their faithful companion had prevented it. The incident would change not just the Thompsons' lives, but their entire community's perspective on the deep connection between humans and their animal companions. Lexer's story became a testament to the extraordinary capacity for love and protection that dogs possess, and a reminder that sometimes our greatest protectors come with paws instead of wings. The community would never again underestimate the profound impact that a dog's love could have on a family's life. Lexer's heroic act would be remembered for years to come, inspiring others to recognize the incredible potential within their own 4-legged family members. The peaceful days following Lexer's heroic rescue were suddenly interrupted when the Thompson family noticed something concerning about their beloved German Shepherd. During his routine evening patrol of the house, Lexer began showing signs of disorientation and unsteady movement, his usually confident stride becoming wobbly and uncertain. Sarah noticed him bumping into furniture he normally navigated around with ease, and his reaction time to Lanny's movements seemed delayed. The family's hearts sank as they watched their hero struggling with what appeared to be more than just fatigue from his recent ordeal. The initial joy of survival was now overshadowed by a growing fear for Lexer's health. The veterinary examination revealed a devastating possibility. The smoke inhalation and intense heat exposure during the rescue had potentially caused neurological damage. The vet explained that the protective position Lexer maintained while shielding Lanny had exposed his head to toxic fumes for critical seconds longer than his body could safely handle. The diagnosis hit the Thompsons like a physical blow as they learned their beloved protector might be facing permanent health issues. The cost of the specialized treatment required would stretch far beyond their insurance coverage and savings, leaving them facing an impossible choice. Community awareness of Lexer's deteriorating condition spread quickly through social media, leading to a flood of well-wishers at the Thompsons' door. Local news stations that had covered the initial rescue story returned, this time with a more somber tone, as they reported on the hero dog's declining health. Lanny, too young to fully understand the situation, would cry whenever Lexer failed to respond to her games as he used to. The sight of their daughter's confusion and Lexer's struggle to maintain his protective duties despite his condition broke Sarah and Michael's hearts, reminding them daily of the sacrifice their loyal companion had made. Despite his condition, Lexer's determination to protect Lanny never wavered, even as his body betrayed him. He would still attempt to follow her around the house, sometimes falling or becoming disoriented, yet never giving up his self-appointed duty as her guardian. The German Shepherd's unwavering loyalty in the face of his declining health touched everyone who witnessed it. His struggles to perform simple tasks that were once effortless became a heart-wrenching reminder of the price he had paid for his heroism. The family watched helplessly as their once strong protector fought against his own limitations. The specialized veterinary clinic in Seattle offered hope, but their advanced treatment program carried a staggering price tag of $75,000. The Thompsons began selling whatever they could, with Michael picking up extra hospital shifts and Sarah starting an online business from home. Their neighbors organized fundraisers, and local businesses contributed what they could to help the dog who had become their community's hero. Yet as the days passed and Lexer's condition continued to deteriorate, the family found themselves in a race against time to save their beloved companion. Each day brought new challenges as Lexer's symptoms progressed. His once precise movements became increasingly erratic, and his periods of confusion grew longer. The sight of him struggling to recognize familiar faces or finding himself lost in corners of rooms he had known for years was almost unbearable for the family to watch. Sarah would often find Lanny gently leading Lexer back to his bed when he became disoriented, the toddler instinctively trying to help her protector just as he had helped her. These moments of role reversal highlighted the profound bond between the child and her canine guardian. The stress began taking its toll on the entire family. Michael worked double shifts at the hospital, coming home exhausted only to spend hours researching alternative treatments and applying for medical loans. Sarah struggled to maintain a brave face for Lanny while watching Lexer's condition worsen day by day. The weight of potential bankruptcy loomed over them, yet the thought of not doing everything possible to save Lexer was unthinkable. Their hero had given everything to protect their daughter, and they were determined to fight just as hard for him. Medical tests revealed that Lexer's condition was deteriorating faster than initially predicted. The toxins from the fire had caused progressive damage to his nervous system, affecting not only his mobility, but also threatening his vital functions. The veterinarians warned that without immediate specialized treatment, Lexer might have only months left, and those months would be filled with increasing suffering. The timeline for saving their beloved dog was shrinking rapidly, adding urgency to their desperate fundraising efforts. The local media coverage of Lexer's struggle caught the attention of several national news outlets, who featured the story of the heroic dog now fighting for his own life. While the attention brought more donations to their cause, it also brought daily reminders of how Lexer's sacrifice had saved Lanny's life at the potential cost of his own. The family found themselves torn between gratitude for their daughter's safety and guilt over Lexer's suffering, creating an emotional burden that seemed almost too heavy to bear. The hardest moments came during the quiet evenings when Lexer would try to perform his old routines. He would attempt to climb the stairs to check on Lanny before bedtime, something he had done every night since she was born. Now, these attempts often ended with him stumbling or needing to be carried, his dignity stripped away by his condition. Yet even in these moments of vulnerability, his eyes never lost their protective gaze when looking at Lanny, showing that his spirit remained unbroken even as his body failed him. As weeks passed, the family noticed Lexer spending more time sleeping, his energy depleted by the simple act of moving around the house. His appetite began to decrease, and the playful spark in his eyes dimmed with each passing day. The once energetic shepherd, who had moved with lightning speed to save Lanny, now struggled to lift his head when she entered the room, though his tail would still wag weakly at the sight of her. The deterioration of their beloved dog's health became a painful daily reminder of the true cost of heroism. Their local veterinarian, Dr. Martinez, began making house calls to spare Lexer the stress of clinic visits. During one particularly difficult examination, she discovered that the neurological damage was beginning to affect his respiratory system. The prognosis was clear. Without the specialized treatment available in Seattle, Lexer's condition would continue to worsen until his body could no longer compensate for the damage. The family faced the heartbreaking reality that their time to save their hero was running out. The mounting medical bills forced the Thompsons to consider selling their home, the very house Lexer had saved Lanny in. Each night, as they watched Lexer struggle through his symptoms, they grappled with impossible decisions about his care and their family's future. The emotional weight of potentially losing their beloved companion, combined with the stress of financial uncertainty, created a darkness that seemed to overshadow even the miracle of Lanny's survival. The turning point came during a particularly severe episode when Lexer lost consciousness while trying to follow Lanny to her room. The sight of their strong, brave dog lying helpless on the floor brought home the gravity of their situation. As Sarah cradled Lexer's head in her lap, tears streaming down her face, she realized that they were watching their hero fade away before their eyes. The time for half measures and gradual fundraising was over. They needed a miracle, and they needed it soon. The post about Lexer's struggle on a small local Facebook group unexpectedly went viral overnight, catching the attention of a renowned veterinary neuroscience researcher at Stanford University. Dr. Sarah Chen, who had been developing an experimental treatment for neurological damage in working dogs, reached out to the Thompsons immediately after seeing Lexer's symptoms described in detail. Her groundbreaking research focused specifically on cases of toxin-induced brain trauma, and Lexer's condition perfectly matched her study criteria. The possibility of hope appearing from such an unexpected source left the family stunned and cautiously optimistic. For the first time in weeks, they allowed themselves to believe in a miracle. Dr. Chen's research program offered not only cutting-edge treatment, but also full funding for selected cases that could advance their understanding of canine neurological recovery. She explained that Lexer's unique case, the combination of smoke inhalation, heat exposure, and the specific pattern of his symptoms, made him an ideal candidate for their experimental therapy. The treatment would combine stem cell therapy with a revolutionary neural regeneration technique that had shown promising results in preliminary trials. The Stanford team was particularly interested in Lexer's case because his intense protective instincts remained intact despite his physical deterioration. This unprecedented preservation of complex behavioral patterns offered valuable insights for their research. The journey to Stanford's Veterinary Research Center felt like entering another world for the Thompsons. The state-of-the-art facility housed some of the most advanced medical equipment they had ever seen, all dedicated to helping animals like Lexer. Dr. Chen's team conducted extensive baseline testing, mapping the exact extent of Lexer's neurological damage using technology that could track neural activity in real time. The results confirmed their initial hopes. Lexer was indeed a perfect candidate for their experimental treatment protocol. The family watched with a mixture of fear and hope as their beloved dog was prepared for the first phase of treatment. The initial treatment sessions were intense, combining carefully targeted stem cell injections with specialized physical therapy designed to stimulate neural regeneration. Lexer's resilience shone through as he endured each procedure with remarkable patience, his eyes always searching the room for Lanny whenever she was allowed to visit. The research team was amazed by his determination, noting that his protective instincts seemed to drive him to push through the discomfort of treatment. Every small sign of improvement, from better balance to more coordinated movements, was celebrated by both the medical team and the family. During the second week of treatment, a breakthrough occurred that exceeded everyone's expectations. Lexer, who had been struggling to walk in straight lines, suddenly demonstrated significantly improved coordination during his morning therapy session. The monitoring equipment showed increased neural activity in previously damaged areas of his brain, suggesting the treatment was not only working, but exceeding projected recovery rates. Dr. Chen's team was particularly excited by the way Lexer's brain was forming new neural pathways, adapting and healing in ways they hadn't seen before in their research. Lanny's presence proved to be an unexpected catalyst in Lexer's recovery process. The research team discovered that his neural activity patterns showed marked improvement during his therapy sessions when Lanny was nearby. Her giggles and encouragement seemed to motivate Lexer in ways that traditional therapy alone couldn't achieve. This observation led Dr. Chen to modify the treatment protocol, incorporating more family interaction time into Lexer's recovery program. The bond between the young girl and her canine protector was literally helping to rebuild his damaged neural pathways. As the treatment progressed, Lexer began showing signs of his old self returning. His movements became more precise, his reactions sharper, and his ability to navigate the hospital corridors improved dramatically. The fog of confusion that had clouded his eyes started to lift, replaced by the alert, intelligent gaze that had once watched over Lanny so vigilantly. Each day brought new progress, from regaining the ability to climb stairs independently to successfully completing increasingly complex obstacle courses designed to test his recovery. The research team was particularly fascinated by how Lexer's protective instincts had seemingly guided his recovery. During one notable therapy session, they simulated a scenario with Lanny, and Lexer's response time in reaching her was nearly back to normal. His brain scans during these exercises showed extraordinary levels of neural regeneration, particularly in areas associated with movement and spatial awareness. Dr. Chen's team began documenting what they called the guardian effect, how strong emotional bonds and deeply ingrained protective instincts could enhance neural recovery. The local media that had once reported on Lexer's decline now eagerly covered his miraculous recovery. The story of the hero dog who had sacrificed his health to save a child only to be saved himself by cutting-edge science captured hearts nationwide. Dr. Chen's research gained significant attention in the veterinary medicine community, with Lexer's case becoming a cornerstone example of the potential for treating severe neurological damage in animals. The implications for both veterinary and human medicine were profound. Sarah and Michael watched in amazement as their beloved dog transformed back into the strong, capable guardian they had known. The fog of depression that had hung over their family during Lexer's illness began to lift, replaced by a renewed sense of hope and gratitude. Lanny's joy at having her playmate and protector back to his old self was infectious, her laughter filling the hospital corridors during their visits. The bond between girl and dog seemed stronger than ever, tempered by the trials they had overcome together. The breakthrough in Lexer's treatment attracted attention from veterinary specialists around the world. Dr. Chen's team received numerous inquiries about their methodology, and plans were made to expand the research program to help other animals with similar conditions. Lexer's remarkable recovery was becoming a beacon of hope for other families facing similar situations with their beloved pets. The Thompsons found themselves at the center of a growing community of support and scientific interest. As the first phase of treatment came to an end, Lexer's improvement had far exceeded even the most optimistic projections. His coordination and strength were nearly fully restored, and his cognitive functions showed remarkable recovery. The research team was particularly impressed by how quickly he had regained his complex protective behaviors, suggesting that deeply embedded instincts could survive severe neurological trauma. Lexer's case was revolutionizing their understanding of canine brain plasticity and recovery. The final tests showed something extraordinary. Lexer's brain had not only healed but had formed new neural pathways that made him even more attuned to his environment than before. His protective instincts, far from being diminished by the trauma, had become more refined through the recovery process. Dr. Chen's team theorized that the combination of the experimental treatment and Lexer's unwavering bond with Lanny had created a unique healing environment that Lexeramized his recovery potential. The implications for future treatments were groundbreaking. Stories of heroic dogs were not uncommon, but Lexer's journey represented something more, a testament to the incredible resilience of the canine spirit and the advancing frontiers of veterinary medicine. His recovery would go on to inspire numerous research projects and treatment protocols, potentially helping countless other animals in the future. The Thompsons' local community, which had rallied around them during their darkest hours, now celebrated not just Lexer's recovery, but the hope his story brought to others facing similar challenges. The transformation in Lexer's recovery became evident as the family returned home from Stanford. His movements were not only steady, but graceful, his protective instincts sharper than ever before. The German Shepherd moved through the house with renewed confidence, his eyes bright and alert as he resumed his duties as Lanny's guardian. During their first week home, he demonstrated his restored abilities by preventing Lanny from tumbling down the stairs, his reflexes and timing perfectly coordinated. His recovery had exceeded everyone's expectations, becoming a story of hope and determination. Dr. Chen's pioneering treatment had not only saved Lexer but had advanced the field of veterinary neurology significantly. Other research institutions began implementing variations of the protocol, dubbed the Lexer protocol, for treating similar cases of neurological damage in working and service dogs. The success rate of these treatments proved remarkably high, with Lexer's case serving as the gold standard for potential outcomes. The implications for animal rehabilitation extended far beyond individual cases, creating a ripple effect throughout the veterinary medical community. The local community that had rallied around the Thompsons during their darkest hours now celebrated Lexer's triumphant return. A special ceremony was held at the city park, where Lexer received a custom-made Medal of Valor from the fire department. The event drew hundreds of supporters, including families whose own pets were now benefiting from the groundbreaking treatment he had helped pioneer. Local schools began using Lexer's story to teach children about heroism, loyalty, and the importance of never giving up hope. The bond between Lexer and Lanny grew even stronger through their shared ordeal. The toddler, who had once tried to help her struggling protector find his way, now had her fully restored guardian back at her side. Their interactions became a beautiful dance of mutual trust and affection, with Lexer's protective instincts now enhanced by an even deeper connection to his young charge. The family often found them curled up together during nap time, Lanny's small hand resting protectively on Lexer's fur. The impact of Lexer's story reached far beyond their community. National media outlets covered the revolutionary treatment that had saved him, leading to increased funding for veterinary research and rehabilitation programs. Insurance companies began reconsidering their policy experimental treatments for service and working dogs, recognizing the value of investing in cutting-edge medical care for these invaluable animals. Lexer had become a symbol of hope for families facing similar challenges with their beloved pets. Dr. Chen's research team continued to monitor Lexer's progress, documenting every aspect of his remarkable recovery. His case study became required reading in veterinary schools across the country, demonstrating the potential for healing even in cases that once seemed hopeless. The guardian effect they had observed during his treatment, the power of emotional bonds to enhance recovery, became a focal point for new research into animal rehabilitation techniques. Lexer's legacy would continue to influence veterinary medicine for years to come. Sarah and Michael watched with joy as their family life returned to normal, though forever changed by their experience. The financial burden they had feared was lifted thanks to the research program, and the community's support had carried them through their darkest days. Lexer's recovery had taught them powerful lessons about resilience, hope, and the extraordinary depth of the human-animal bond. Their story inspired others to fight just as hard for their own four-legged family members. Lexer's protective instincts, far from being diminished by his ordeal, had been refined and strengthened. He seemed to possess an almost uncanny ability to anticipate potential dangers, his reactions even more precise than before. The research team theorized that the neural regeneration process had actually enhanced his natural abilities, creating new pathways that improved his already remarkable protective capabilities. His role as Lanny's guardian had evolved into something even more extraordinary. The Thompsons began participating in programs that helped connect families with therapy and service dogs, sharing their story to provide hope and guidance to others. Lexer became a regular visitor at children's hospitals, where his gentle presence and remarkable story brought comfort to young patients and their families. His journey from hero to patient and back to hero again demonstrated the incredible resilience of the canine spirit and the power of unconditional love. The security footage from the day of the fire took on new meaning as the family watched it months later. What had once been a reminder of near tragedy now stood as a testament to the extraordinary bond between a dog and his family. Lexer's split-second decision to risk everything for Lanny had set in motion a chain of events that would change countless lives for the better. His sacrifice had not only saved one life, but had opened new frontiers in veterinary medicine. Each evening, as Lexer made his rounds checking on Lanny before bedtime, his movements fluid and sure, the Thompsons were reminded of how close they had come to losing him. His recovery had become more than just a personal victory. It was a beacon of hope for other families facing similar challenges. The German Shepherd's unwavering devotion through his own hardships had shown the world the true meaning of heroism and loyalty. The research team's final report on Lexer's case highlighted an unexpected finding. His protective instincts had actually helped create new neural pathways during recovery, suggesting that emotional bonds could play a crucial role in healing. This discovery led to new approaches in veterinary rehabilitation, emphasizing the importance of maintaining strong connections between animals and their families during treatment. Lexer's journey had not only saved his own life, but had paved the way for countless others to heal. Medical journals published detailed studies of Lexer's recovery, noting how the combination of cutting-edge treatment and his extraordinary bond with Lanny had created optimal conditions for healing. The case became a cornerstone example of the potential for recovery from severe neurological trauma, inspiring new research into the relationship between emotional connections and physical healing. Lexer's story continued to influence both veterinary medicine and our understanding of the profound bond between humans and animals. As summer turned to fall, the Thompsons celebrated Lexer's complete recovery with a special gathering of everyone who had supported them through their journey. The once struggling hero now moved with grace and confidence through the crowd of well-wishers, his attention never straying far from Lanny. His story had become a symbol of hope, resilience, and the extraordinary power of love to overcome seemingly impossible odds. The German Shepherd's legacy would continue to inspire and heal long into the future. Time revealed how a single moment of heroism could ripple outward to touch countless lives. Lexer's journey from hero to patient to pioneer had transformed not only his family, but the entire field of veterinary medicine. His unwavering spirit through moments of darkness had illuminated new paths of healing and hope. The bond between the German Shepherd and his human family had proven stronger than any obstacle, any illness, any challenge that stood in their way. The research that saved Lexer's life continued to evolve, helping more animals each year. Dr. Chen's team expanded their program, developing new treatments inspired by the discoveries made during Lexer's recovery. The Lexer Protocol became standard practice in veterinary hospitals worldwide, its success rate a testament to the power of combining cutting-edge science with the healing strength of love and devotion. What had started as one dog's fight for survival had bloomed into a revolution in animal care. Lanny, now old enough to understand the full scope of Lexer's sacrifice and recovery, developed a deep interest in veterinary medicine. She would often sit with Lexer in their backyard, her hand gently stroking his fur as she read her science books. The German Shepherd remained her constant guardian, his protective instincts now perfectly restored and even enhanced by his remarkable journey. Their story continued to inspire others, a living testament to the extraordinary depths of the bond between humans and their animal companions. Beyond the medical breakthroughs and scientific advances, Lexer's legacy lived on in the countless lives he touched. The Thompsons regularly received letters from families whose pets had been saved by the treatment he helped pioneer. His story became a beacon of hope, reminding everyone that even in the darkest moments, miracles were possible when love, science, and determination came together. Lexer continued his duties as Lanny's protector, his eyes still bright with devotion, his spirit unbroken by the challenges he had overcome. Through Lexer's journey, the world witnessed the true meaning of heroism, not just in a single moment of bravery, but in the quiet, determined fight for recovery that followed. His story proved that sometimes the greatest guardians came with four paws and a heart full of unconditional love. As Lexer watched over Lanny each day, his legacy continued to grow, touching more lives and inspiring more miracles with each passing year. The hero dog had not only saved his family twice, but had opened doors of hope for countless others, proving that love truly could conquer all obstacles. Standing in their backyard on a warm evening, watching Lexer and Lanny play together, Sarah and Michael knew that their story had become more than just a tale of survival. It had become a testament to the extraordinary power of hope, science, and most importantly, the unbreakable bond between a dog and his family. Lexer's legacy would continue to inspire and heal for generations to come, a reminder that true heroes never really fade away. They live on in the lives they touch and the changes they inspire.